One thing I did send out on my agenda to everybody today was I have been asked to find out when our districts conduct their meetings. Several of you have already answered that. Thank you. If you haven't, please do. Uh, Most everybody seems to be the first Thursday of the month. But in any event, I just need confirmation of that. What we're trying to do is not schedule meetings so that they collide with each other, not schedule MCC and division meetings so they interfere with district and commissioners and so on. So that's the purpose of what we're trying to do good. Okay, we're real close to 7. Oh, we are on that 7. Good, let's start. Uh, Welcome and thanks for joining tonight. Frank, are we recording this by any chance? Or can
Yes.
we? Nice.
Yes.
Okay, so someone has missed or can't be with us tonight, they can at least pick up on it via recording. First order of business, if you will, give me some feedback on that district success conference we had on March 20th. Things I'm interested in are, was the content valuable to you? The time allotted for it? Just for your information, President Ford had 17 attendees. Great Lakes Division had 64. There were a total of 129, and of that, 18 were the professional scouters for the council staff. So anyway, let me be quiet and hear from you. Who's feedback on the conference?
Probably the best part was Amanda Voigt. Is that her name?
Yes.
That was probably the most interesting part of the whole thing. It was.
I agree. There was a lot of good, that was really interesting.
And on that subject, what we'd like to do in the fall conference and really from there on is always find somebody who has new information, who has success to share, not just talk in generalities, but get specific. This results in that, and feature that person to add value. Is that a good idea? Would you agree with that? And so that last bullet point D on the agenda there, if you have any things you in particular would like to have addressed, or so we can start our speaker search, we can find out who really, talking to other councils and so on, who has done this well, whatever it is that you'd like to have more information about. So give that your thoughts. Anyway, good. Some more comments about the conference? Amanda was a hit. Good. Was it too long, too short?
There was a lot, this is Fritz, there was a lot of good information presented. And it was, I think if I was right, it was like 3 hours long. And that's a lot of stuff to present during that time frame. I was told that it was recorded. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, because I mean, like I said, I was trying doing screenshots here and there best I could, but I know that stuff was going to be provided. So, I mean, to retain all that was presented in those 3 hours, I mean, you almost have to go through pieces again and look at it again. So is that going to be available out on the
it is on the MCC. It is on the MCC site. Aaron, could you possibly help us with just getting the link to that? Just send it by email to the attendees.
And I say I mean, don't get me wrong, all the presentations were great. Even yourself, everything that was presented, I thought it was well presented. It's just, I think right now, I think a lot. I think I'm not sure who made the comment. Was it Dave who made the comment that the fact that I thought it was interesting, and it's kind of, I think people I think districts are doing this today, where you have that age group of people you want slotted into those different positions. And so I mean, so that was And actually, where was she from again? She wasn't from MCC.
St. Louis.
St. Louis, okay.
Yeah, that was her presentation was really neat. And in fact, at our district meeting last Thursday, I mentioned to our district committee to check out the district success conference. It's online, shared with them the link. But I said, if you don't see anything else, jump hour and a half into it and see Amanda's presentation. It was, I thought, something that we needed to hear and effective. I did make a comment to our district executive that there's a language or a perspective that I'd love to have changed a little bit. There was a lot of saying we need, and it's what I'd rather hear is saying something like we provide, and it would just, I think it would go a ways just by talking that way. The other thing was there were people talking about the fee increase, and I think I would rather just hear people say the fee and not acknowledge that there happened to be an increase, you know, and not dwell on it. But those were a couple of comments that I had made. So
And they're appreciated. I've jotted them down. Absolutely.
Well, I hate to bring up the fee, current fee, but it is twice what LaSalle Council charges. And I've lost, I'd say, a third of my district committee who quit in protest. So, you know, whatever good idea it is and whatever revenue they're bringing in, I hope it's good, but it's been decimating for my district.
Is that Pat? Is it,
That was Paul over at Wabano.
okay, Paul. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, half the county is in LaSalle District, and they're roughly $68 a year, and we're $150 a year. Their camp is in our county, and so it's difficult to justify, especially to some of the where I've got rural poverty. And Frank can probably help me out better on who's applied for, let's call it tuition as dues assistance, but you know, unless we can get a lot of that coming through, our real registration is going to look really bad when we open back up.
What would help the situation, recognizing that there's been a lot of discussion about why the fees and how that's fair, how that levels the load amongst units as well. Some doing popcorn, some doing FOS, others not, but the ones doing nothing, which were about 80% roughly of the population, we're getting a free ride, if you will. And
Well,
that's why we went to this kind of structure. So is more explanation to that group helpful? With Frank or me or Aaron coming down to explain the why behind the what? Would that be helpful?
I think that again, it's a language thing. I think we need to say what is being provided, and if people can hear what's being provided, then the sticker shock won't be as bad. I mean, you think athletic, and people signing up their kids for sports teams or even for band, they know what they're getting into because they know what's being provided. And I think they just need to be reminded of it. So.
yeah, and I agree with Dave that we need to, probably the biggest thing is to get our programs up and running. And we do have successful units that are meeting hours and things like that, but it's really hard for Cub Scouts at least in my district, to get excited about paying $150 per kid to watch television. Of course, they pay that anyway to people, but, you know, don't get me started.
All right, it's a point well made.
Anyway,
and,
that's,
let's, I'm going to consult with Aaron and a couple of others um, and take Dave's advice about showing what value is and what is being received. I know I've seen some of those documents, but
okay.
perhaps we need to do a better job of packaging them. So you can have
And
that.
then again, we need to get that information out about, you know, the dues assistance, because I don't want to start having parents drop out because they can't afford it. So I need to get that information out too. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, anything else on the Success Conference? Pat and Bill, I see you're online. Welcome. Good to have you in the call. All right, moving on then, we have a tentative date for the 23rd of October. That's a Saturday morning. Tentatively 9 to 11:30 for the next conference. Okay, so please pencil that in on your calendars if you could. And as I mentioned a moment ago, we're very open to hearing your recommendations, your suggestions on what you would like addressed. In that period of time, we can't address but a limited number of things, but we're polling, we're asking. So please let me know. One of the things that was brought up in the Success Conference was, and I'm back to the agenda now, there was a district operations plan, and David Labs explained that, the way that they were going about it. He also said that this is a participative development and that he asked for volunteers, district chairs, and others who wish to help put this together in a way that makes good sense and is easy to use. They're in that process. If you would like to be a part of that or be involved, let me know or communicate directly with David Labs on that. The intent of this is to coordinate and synchronize the efforts of the districts with the professional staff. Our professional staff have goals and they have things that they're doing. We need an operations plan that aligns with them. So, and vice versa. So, by the way, did anybody from our division volunteer to be on that with David? If you do want to be, we welcome you and let me know and we'll get you connected. I know their next meeting is April 15th, tax day, or at least it was. Okay, some district reports, if we could have those, please. And this is that portion of the meeting where, you know, it's a bit free form. It's your opportunity to talk about what's going on in your district. Things I'm concerned about, obviously, is filling those top 5 positions, but there's other achievements. Perhaps there's a camporee being planned that the neighboring district might like to know about, and so on. So, you know, you've got a few minutes to just give us some highlights and a report. So who would like to lead off with that? Give us an update. Pat, how about you? We haven't heard from you in ages, and just give us a little, what's going on in scenic trails these days? Let's get his mic.
Good evening, everyone. Pat Parker here, Scenic Trails up in Traverse City. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we have an interesting phenomenon in that I am having a difficult problem filling the top chairs, but we're not having a big problem filling all the buckets below that. So I took the district chair, and I guess probably our biggest accomplishment is we do have a market development board chair. That's Jamie Callahan. Some of you guys that have been in the Order of the Arrow statewide, he was the section advisor. So very happy with that. He's working that side of the district. We did have a alumni meeting via Zoom. I think we had 7 or 8 people on board. I really think that the alumni and NISA is going to grow. And you got a lot of people want to get on in that, but no one wants to get involved in any of the other stuff. Our community FOS, again, don't have a chair for that, but we have our Leland All Breakfast, our Grand Traverse Breakfast, and our WTCM annual radiothon, Take Your Kid to Camp, where in years past we've made up to $15,000, $20,000 on that. So all those are moving forward. Our special events are TC Golf Outing is still a go at Crystal Mountain. Our sportsman hunt later this fall, which is a pheasant hunt, that's still a go. And then our BCC that we're planning on having up north here, Petoskey or Traverse City, I'm not sure which one it's going to be. We'll are participating in that. And an area that I'm really excited to see our council go back after is the James E. West and the endowment. I think those are areas that when we did the Michigan project, that it was an area that we just didn't go after and we really needed badly. While I don't have a chair for that, I do have a team, project team, that's out recognizing and at least coming up with some names. As for membership, I don't have a membership chair, but I do think that we are going to have a popcorn chairman, and we're still wrangling people's arms on that. Program vice chair, we have a lot of people up here doing program, just nobody in the vice chair position. And a district, assistant district commissioners, we've got 3 or 4 of them up here, but no one wants to take the district commissioner position. So been turned down a lot. I know you're not supposed to say no to scouting, but we're seeing that up here. A lot of people are using, like you all have said, COVID as a reason. Things at work are crazy, things at home are crazy. But even though we don't have chairs, we have a lot of sub-chair people that are doing some heavy lifting, and I'll take that. And when you tell people, you know, being a chair would be a whole lot easier than doing a lot of this grunt work, people still want to do the work. So that's what's happening up here in Traverse City, and we'll keep shaking the bushes, Frank.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it very much.
Pat Ryan Creech. Just want to let you know that Mason and I have a meeting on Thursday with a individual who is a business owner, has his own marketing firm, and is taking a look at that vice chair membership role.
Oh, very good.
So that developed in a week's time, and I haven't had a chance to get in touch with you about it. So
and a little bit ago, we just recruited a new assistant district commissioner for the east side of the district. So
excellent. Good. Nice work.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you. How about Lakeshore, Bill?
Well, I've been in the position now for all of about 3 weeks. I have had 2 key threes with my commissioner, and they've gone really well. I've sent 2 emails and a text to my vice chairs to try to come up with something that would be agreeable to a time to have a district committee meeting, and I can't even get a response. I don't even know if they have a pulse rate at this point, so I have to get my executive to reach out and see what's going on, so we can try to come up with something and put our heads together. So I'm a little frustrated with that right now. I wouldn't treat anybody the way that I've been treated in that regard, but I don't know if there's a miscommunication or what.
Okay. Let me confer with you offline, and maybe we can do that in the next day or so. Okay.
Bill, I know your program person was out with COVID. That was following scouting training weekend, so he's been out of commission for a little while.
Yeah, but you know, a response to 2 emails and a text would have been kind of courteous.
It's one of those 12 laws, isn't it? 12 points. Okay, so you're in the development mode in Lakeshore, but you've made some good
Well, we've
progress.
got our slots filled. Just
You have, and you've got really good FOS progress too.
yeah, so I got to get a pulse rate here. We'll work it out.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Nottawa, how about Tom? How about hear from you?
Sure. Well, we haven't made a lot of progress on recruitment for several of these VP positions, but we have had a couple of additions that are significant. We added a guy to our advancement committee that's going to specifically focus on getting our merit badge counselors up to snuff and making sure they're trained and that we get a good list and all that kind of stuff. His name is Jeff Ellinger, so that was a good recruit. We also, since the last meeting, have confirmed the appointment of T.R. Shaw as our Market Advisory Board Chair for Fund Development, and TR is a community leader in Battle Creek and is really working hard to get some events that are fundraiser specific going. Specifically, we're looking at having a breakfast in possibly May or June, like they just had in Grand Rapids, like a legacy type breakfast or something to do fundraising. But we've got some other ideas that are being explored too, like an Eagle Scout reunion for the fall, and a joint project with the American Legion for a jail and bail kind of fundraising thing and stuff like that. So we're hoping some of those things come out of that. So technically he's not the VP of development, but the Market Advisory Board has 4 or 5 senior people on it that have been involved in scouting for a long time, and we're trying to revitalize that effort. We are having a spring virtual camporee with a wilderness survival theme. While it's not an actual camporee, troops are being encouraged to camp and have boys work on the wilderness survival merit badge. And there's going to be like an honor system judging with points available on that can be mailed in with pictures. And then at the end of the week after that, the Nottawa Trails troop that does the best will get our district brown jugs. So that is April 23rd through the 25th. And we recently were assigned Stephanie Bird as our unit service executive. She's being shared with Paul Donovan and Wabeno right now, but Stephanie seems to be very energetic. She's young and exciting and jumping in with both feet. So we're excited about that. And we recently had, I'm gonna have to ask Fritz if we had 2 or 3, but Fritz Reasons and Ted Headings completed that short-term camping coordinator training that we have to have. So we have at least 2 people. I think we might have a 3rd one, but I'm not sure. Fritz, did John Elant do the training as well? Fritz Reasons?
Yep. He's on mute.
Oh,
Fritz is on mute.
well, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, sorry. Talking on mute. No, my dog was barking. Sorry. No, yeah, that was John Elant, who we both did the short-term camp administrator, and then both John and Ted both did the full-blown in-camp training too.
Okay, great. Okay, so I think we got that covered. So even though, like some of the other districts that have reported already, we're having trouble recruiting people for long-term commitments, our little committee that we have is continuing to just plan things and work around that. You know, the pool of possible scouters to recruit from in our area has shrunk dramatically during this COVID thing. We have we have some troops and packs that aren't even registering other than the bare minimum, you know, to keep a charter alive until the fall. So it's like others have said, it's interesting. And Mr. Blinn, we have the same problem you do. We contact people, we recruit them, they even agree to do jobs, and then they do the new thing called ghosting, where they just don't even show up or call you or let you know they quit or do anything. They just don't show up, and it's really an interesting time right now. I've never had that in my adult life, and it's getting hard to deal with, but we're persevering and we keep moving ahead, and we've got a good core group of people, and I think we've got what we need to keep moving. So
Thanks, Tom.
yep.
Bill, can we hear from Northern Lights?
Sure. Hi, everyone. We've got our VC of Development and Membership are still vacant at this point. We do have a good list of names. What we're trying to do is create some new blood getting in here instead of having, you know, the people that just keep donating and donating. We don't want people to get burnt out. We have been able to fill some of the other positions beneath them. The risk management team got filled almost immediately. We've got 2 people that are willing to take that on. And the short-term camping, we're going to be actually having teams of 2 go every 2 years. So we're kind of dividing that up so it's not falling on just, you know, 1 or 2 people all the time. So, you know, some of those positions have been filling. So we're really trying to look long-term for the development and membership VCs. So we know it's probably going to take a little more time to fill them, but we want to be confident that they're going to be in for the long haul.
Yeah.
So we have been in our key 3 meetings developing our organizational chart with agendas. Ryan's been instrumental with helping us with that. It has been modeled right after Scenic Trails. So we're it's very detailed, and we can see where our vacancies are, and that way our whole team can see them when we're at our district meetings. So, you know, we've been doing a district planning meeting in May. We're planning for this so we can you know, fill some of these vacancies. So we've been right on point and, you know, working hard to try to get these vacancies filled, but some of the ones that don't show up on this chart have been filled pretty immediately. So I've got a good feeling about where we are in Northern Lights right now. And, you know, we've got several events that are coming up. We do have a spring camporee coming up, and it's going to be a shootout at, it's in Harbor Springs at the gun club up there. So we're going to be able to offer archery and 22s and shotgun. And they do this in Harbor Springs about every 5 years. And that's a well-attended camporee. You know, obviously, I think the adults get just as geeked about it as the youth do. We're also looking at doing a summer Klondike. So we're putting wheels on our sleds, and since we weren't able to do a Klondike in the winter this past you know, couple of months, we're going to try offering that in the summer and see how that goes.
Neat.
And then you know, still planning for our fall camporee. So we've been hard at work and keeping busy for sure.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep, thank you.
Kevin, would you want to give us some update on Ojibwe or one of your folks?
Sure. Unfortunately, my district chair and district commissioner could not be on this evening, so I've got some things I can report on their behalf. We're cruising along pretty okay up here in Ojibwe land. We actually do not have a vice chair of program, but we do have a vice chair of nominating. So I think that one just got marked in the wrong box there. We've got some prospects for our development as well as membership chairs, as well a program. We've got some ideas, but we're still working on that completely. Like a couple of our other districts up here, we've got, we got plenty of people in the buckets underneath the vice chairs. We just want to get the vice chairs in place to get that all working in a beautiful little bubble there. Other than that, our nominating committee is going to be going through the process to actually bring some of those vice chairs as well as the rest of the board on, in line, which we're pretty excited about. It's the first time our district is going to be doing the nominating process, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback from our units and volunteers on that. Other than that, we got a couple cool events we're kicking off here fairly soon. We actually have partnered with Saginaw Valley State University to offer a STEM Merit Badge Day via some of their professors. So we'll actually get some awesome experts in the field teaching astronomy, environmental science, engineering, and electronics. We are also piloting an awesome, cool program here for our district, and that is the Ojibwe District Top Shot. And we are going to have our Scouts BSA Scouts working on a shooting competition throughout the entire summer. When they go to summer camp, they'll actually shoot the qualifying shots. And then in October, we'll have the final shootout between the 8 top shots in each bracket, and then award some cool trophies. So we have a lot of excitement because we're also allowing adults to participate as well. I'm not sure who's more excited, if it's the Scouts or the Scouters, but there's a lot of excitement going on about that. So
Thanks, Kevin.
some stuff happening up here.
Thanks, appreciate it. Amy, would you want to give us an update on Shoreline?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Okay, good. So Shoreline has Ryan recruited and hired a new district executive for Heartland, and so she will be helping out with membership. Hold on just one. So she'll be helping out Shoreline with district membership and development, and then the 4 northern counties for unit service. We had a membership subcommittee meeting last week, and we have a pretty good recruitment plan. I'm just waiting for the notes on that to upload that to our folder so that our professional can see that. And I think Ryan is working on a nominating committee for to replace the district chair. All of our goals are in place; those look pretty good, and we just have to grow our team. It's just hard because, partly because of the pandemic, none of us are out and about to even see people. But we're working on it, and those are the updates I have.
Thank you very much. Abel, will you want to tell us about Timber Trails? What's happening with Timber Trails?
Of course, Frank. So with Timber Trails, I'm just focusing on getting the district up and running. There's been, we had different professionals kind of taking care of the whole area. So I'm trying to piece it all together. Frank and I, we identified actually 2 nominating committee people for a nominating committee. One of them, right now, one of them has COVID, unfortunately, and I still need to reach out to the other person. But really, right now, we're just trying to get back up. So, short update for you guys.
Okay, and then some of these really neat activities that districts near you are having. Perhaps some of your units might want to participate in. For example, what Pat is going to be doing. And again, you have a geography that's a sort of a challenging geography. It's sparsely populated in the middle, and it's got some larger towns, cities on the edges of the territory.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I'll be taking from the meeting is some of the meetings that you guys are doing. And then the other thing that I forgot, I have a meeting with, or Corey Groth and I, we have a meeting with Ferris State to do a mayor batch there. So I know Kevin mentioned I'm doing a mayor batch at the Saginaw Valley. So we're going to be partnering with Ferris to do something STEM related. So hopefully, you know, by getting a program event that gets more involvement. So, yep.
I'm the only one not hearing him.
No, something happened to your mic, Abel, and we were listening to you far away, I think on Mars.
All right, but can you hear me now?
Not a
It's
whole
still
lot
low.
better. But I did get the idea about Ferris and the collaboration, which sounds like Saginaw Valley. And yes, that you're looking at where can you connect to your adjacent districts and participate in those activities and buddy up. I mean, these don't have to be your own show. I mean, the collaboration is great. Let's do that. Dave, did you have an update for us? Dave Gordon?
Sure. Yeah, we have our monthly nominating subcommittee meeting on the first Wednesday of each month. So we've got one coming up this Wednesday. We've had a list of perspectives we've kind of been going through, and we're getting kind of close to exhausting it. But we've been trying to find not only people for the district committee at all levels, but we've also been trying to find district commissioners. And one of our tasks for this Wednesday is actually to put together a slate of candidates, for lack of a better term, because at our May district committee meeting, we have to nominate, or we have to share the, or what is it? We have to have an agreement on the slate of candidates that we can vote on. So, so we're working on that. Yeah, we got a membership vice chair. We've got a program vice chair. I think Rich and I are kind of acting as nominations vice chairs. We have a lot of good people in development, but we don't have anyone yet to step up as vice chair. We've got a couple of ideas of people who could be a good district chair. And we already have somebody who's a vice chair of, what's the term, enterprise resource management. And so we're just working through our perspective list. And something that came up at our district meeting last Thursday was they wanted to put together a group of people who can do trainings. So we're starting to make a prospect list of trainers in our district who might be able to help with Baloo, IOLS, and all the multiple trainings that are needed. So, and as far as activities and stuff, I want to say the biggest thing is, or the biggest couple of things. There's a district Pinewood Derby at the end of the month. And then for May 15th, there's a spring scouting fun day being planned for Fort Custer, and we wanted to reach out to Nottawa Trails and Wabano and see if they might be interested in coming and joining us for fishing and fly fishing and wood carving.
Yes,
So
send me an invite.
who was
Chris
that?
Paul
Oh, Paul.
Donovan over
Yep.
in Wabano.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I know John Elam from Nottawa Trails wanted to get in on that too. So that's all that's happening in Pathfinder.
Good. Thank you.
Unless Laura or Rich want to add anything.
No, I think you got it covered, Dave. Thank you.
Jake, would you cover us for Chief Okemos?
Sure. So here in Chief Okemos, we recruited our nominating chair about 2 weeks ago. He signed on, and along with that, we have a full nominating committee. So 4 people in total working that, not including any professionals. Program has never been an issue in Chief Okemos, so we have partnerships with MSU Engineering, MSU Federal Credit Union, both to do merit badge days, merit badge colleges type thing. We have a meeting with Lansing Lugnuts to host a overnight event with them. We have a vice chair program already. Our market advisory board here in Lansing is pretty robust. So we have asked them if they had somebody they could supply to be our vice chair of finance. And we're still working on recruiting a district chair and vice chair of membership. Those are kind of the big things we got going on in the world of Chief O.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Laura, did you want to give us an update on your area?
Laura's in Pathfinder with me and Rich.
Okay, all right.
Unless,
Oops.
yeah.
Okay, and then let's see. Do we have a representative at all from Eagle Spirit? Frank Cooley's the representative from Eagle Spirit.
Okay, had to unmute myself there. Yeah, unfortunately, Eagle Spirit has their commissioners meeting going on tonight. So Lucas and obviously the commissioner staff are on that call tonight at the same time. As you've indicated in there, there is a yellow square in there that there is a prospect, which we are hoping that we are only 1 or 2 days away from saying yes. There's a couple little discussions going on. Frank and I both talked to the individual within the last 72 hours. Frank talking to the individual today. So Frank and I are both optimistic about that. They're moving along in most of their areas, although they do not have a VC program. They do have an assistant district commissioner that was undertaking program under the old President Ford strategy. And so she is still helping to work with the people in training, advancement, and activities and that. The district does have a nominating committee, and their next meeting is next week. They're hoping that they don't have to worry about the chair position, just worry about filling additional manpower in some of the other areas to strengthen. They have coming up a couple of different activities and events. They have a Cub Scout, Boy Scout event that's occurring in May. And at that event, they're also looking to try and re-engage drop youth and coming out to that event to get re-engaged with scouting, as well as trying to reach out for potential new youth to get into the program. They just last week kicked off an IC5 campaign in Grand Rapids as part of their fundraising campaign. So they're looking for some big results out of that over the next month and a half there. So things are moving in the good direction in Eagle Spirit District.
Okay. Anyone else want to provide an update for their area?
Frank, I can give you an update on Heartland.
Please.
So Thursday, yeah, I think it's Thursday. No, Wednesday night. I forgot what day it was. Wednesday night, Nick Shepard, who's a past scoutmaster of one of the troops over there in Midland, worked with him to identify about 6 to 8 individuals that would come out and help us go through the last decade of rosters for 3 of the strongest units in Midland and identify individuals that might be good prospects or candidates to fill some of these holes that we have for Heartland. So I'm hoping that in a couple days we'll have a laundry list of people to go talk to. Each of those people that are coming to the meeting are going to also agree to help us be that connector to that individual. So hopefully they're the one that would be willing to help us go and make that ask. And since they know them and have that rapport and that that relationship, it's going to be a much easier sell. So more to come, but that should help us at least possibly get a district chair, I'm hoping, out of it, and a bunch of doers, a bunch of volunteers underneath all the chairs. I don't know that we'll be able to successfully get all the positions out of it, but at least it helps us get us in the right direction. So I don't know. I mean, technically, Nick Shepard is our volunteer for the camp promotions chair for the district, but he's kind of pseudo acting as our nominating committee vice chair. And then the only thing I wanted to add was, Frank, if you could put a P under Scenic Trails vice chair membership so that we can identify that prospect that we're having a meeting with on Thursday. But yeah, I'm really excited about what we're going to accomplish. One of the individuals that was a Scoutmaster years ago is Dan Opperman, who's a bankruptcy court judge, and actually had to decline right now because of he's dealing with those cases and that. But I was excited to see that Nick jumped right back at him and said, hey, well, maybe, let us know when this is, when's a good time that we can talk in the future and get you on board. And so hopefully as the bankruptcy thing disperses, maybe we might be able to have a judge on our committee at some point, which would be really great. But yeah, so lots of progress. I'm trying to think if there's any other areas. We're going to try this same approach for Shoreline to help us fill the hole and as a district chair for Shoreline. We've got some people identified. We just haven't had I haven't found that volunteer like Nick to step up and give some leadership and support to it yet. But we're getting closer. And then we have the same project set up for also Chiefo and Scenic Trails. So again, we're going to try it once in Heartland, see how it goes, see if it's a good practice, and then go from there and try and replicate it in the other three. So
Thank you. Excellent.
Frank, I know Paul talked earlier, and I didn't know if you're going to go back around to him.
That's where I'm headed.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Paul, did you have you made some excellent comments before. Would you like to wrap us up with some other thoughts that you might have?
Sure. Well, first off, I want to thank Frank Krull and the professional staff for helping us out. We were on the ropes, and they've come in and done an excellent job. Couple of things. We got a fall camporee penciled in over at the Coloma Rod and Gun Club. We're planning a winter Klondike and a spring shooting event. And the spring shooting event is usually a sold out event because we can only limit it to so many scouts because of the number of shooting positions available. We do have a person in our programs to handle the events. So I'm hoping to get the events going so we can get people more interested in scouting again. We're going to have a district dinner, and we're going to arrange that hopefully over at the Paul Paul Yacht Club again. And we've got setting up a training event, and we're going to see if we can get a facility for that. One of the advantages that Wabano has is we've got some phenomenal sponsors like the Paul Yacht Club, the Coloma Rod and Gun Club, Knights of Columbus and Ward of Elite, Lane Automotive there along I-94. And they were all very, very supportive of the scouting move. Probably the Coloma and Rod and Gun Club is an outstanding sponsor. So what we want to do is make sure we engage our sponsors again and we get events held there. What we really need is, and waiting for, is more of a release from the state. We have a lot of older members in our, say, scouting staff, if you will, volunteer staff, and they're definitely afraid of COVID. And so if we can start getting things where people opened up, enough people vaccinated, then I think I can get a lot of the volunteers to come back. Thank you.
Hey,
Great,
Paul,
Paul.
I just want to add on, when you, Frank, and I met, we talked about reaching out, doing a download on past scouters. Paul called a meeting last week of a couple of people. We had a download of about 1,200 adults that have, I don't want to say aged out, exited out, or separated out from scouting. There was over 100 that were Eagle Scouts as adult leaders. Paul called in a couple of people and ran through a bunch of names on that list, which they're still going through, sort of similar to what Ryan's doing in a couple of the districts. And so I think there were some real good prospects that came out of that meeting that Paul had last week with Stephanie and one or two other volunteers, and moving the ball forward and recruiting some new people for Wabeno.
Thank you.
Okay, and as you saw that Frank was able to update the chart as we spoke, which was great. And I think we have one adjustment also to make, given my notes from a moment ago, moving, no, I'll get my notes, but anyway, helping us by keeping this list current, this chart is very important, and then also just your organizational listings. Aaron was working on a system to allow us to do that in one place, one time, not having to, copy somebody and copy somebody else. Aaron, did you have any update for us on being able to, for the district chairs and leaders to update MCC's information?
Yeah, we had talked about it a bit. I'd say we, as in Ryan, Frank, Abel, and I. Right now, the teams are each team's doing a really good job of tracking it, and it has their spot where all of that is. What we don't want to ask our district executives to do is have double work. So we probably need to revisit it again. I don't think we've talked about this topic in at least a week or so, but we are looking at finding a way to help automate that or slim it down, because, like I said, we're just really trying to be cognizant of, if they're already doing it somewhere, how do we utilize it? So that's a really fancy way to say I don't have it for you yet, but we're still talking about it. The user friendliness has to go both ways, right? Both to the volunteers and for the staff, and that's kind of the balance we're working on right now.
We're not interested in creating new work bureaucracy, or, we all have plenty to do. In the meantime, please be sure to keep my listings updated, and then we're going to find a way to start sharing this information across districts. So Bill Blinn knows what Dave Gordon's person is doing this or that, and that those people can start connecting. We can build these networks that are going to be very effective for us, and we don't have to go up a silo, over and down, and that kind of thing. I did review the goals. Generally, they were good. They're definitely a work in progress. I understand that. And please, by the end of April, be able to give me something, use the goal form, don't create anything new. Use that goal form to just write some comments in, or make comments that says, where are you on progress to that goal? And then specifically, what can I do to help you? All right. Aaron, you have some closing comments for us, and we should end on time.
Sure. Well, two things really, and they're kind of talking shop more than like a Scoutmaster's Minute, I would say, but our two big campaigns that we're really still operating in right now would be our Friends of Scouting fundraising campaign, as well as our summer camp and resident camps, getting our scouts to go. So on the first, on Friends of Scouting, things are coming along pretty well. If I can take a snapshot from the fundraising campaign thus far, our donors and supporters are still there for scouting. Most of our districts will be at or very close to our 60% goal benchmark we're shooting for the end of April. Some of our districts, like Chief O, have an opportunity to hit their goal in this month with the good showing at a couple of events. So a lot of great things happening in fundraising. So if you haven't talked to your fundraising teams recently, reach out and tell them good job, ask how you might help, but they're really chugging along with our district executives and development officers working with the volunteers of the areas. And then the second one being camping. Camp looks good. We've got a lot of scouts signed up for camp. There's over 1,000 scouts signed up for camp. If I'm remembering my numbers right this morning, or was that just 1,000 at one of the camps? But either way, camp looks good. Most of our units, especially our division, most of our units plan to go to summer camp. What we now have to work on is making sure most of our scouts plan to go to summer camp. So engaging our camping and program chairs to really get down to the patrol and individual scout level with our Scouts BSA units and say, I see you're signed up for camp, but you only have 2 scouts. What are the rest of them doing? What questions do you have that might help get a few more people on board there? So big push coming soon. We're going to do a bit of a data dump for individual scouts that have not signed up for summer camp. And we'll use the email power we have and the phone call trees and everything we can think of. But just making sure families know camp is happening. We have a plan to keep camp safe, and we really want to find a way to help every scout get to camp this summer. So that's really what I have. Appreciate what everyone's doing out there. The manpower stuff will come. We just got to keep at it, and this is the hard part. Once we get the team on board, raising money, recruiting kids, that becomes a lot easier. So appreciate your efforts in digging up old lists and making phone calls to people and really talking about why it's important that we have those vice chair roles filled and the other roles on the team. So thanks for what you're doing, and however I could help, please let me know. And Frank, that's all I got.
Anything else for the good of the cause before we button it up?
Yeah, real quick. So Aaron, can you shoot out the link for camperships? How to get those filed? Because if you give me a list of scouts that are not going, I want to have that available. Of where
sure.
we can sign on.
Is that I'm gonna ask Frank and Ryan. Is
Appreciate it.
Camp scholarships run through a online system?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there are 3 periods. The first one was April 1st. It's really simple. If you go to michiganscouting.org and there's a drop down right under Outdoor Adventures, you scroll down to scholarships and there's all the information. So again, michiganscouting.org, hover over Outdoor Adventures and click on scholarships. The first one's April 1st. The next period is May 31st.
Okay, I can do that and create the link and get that out to the units. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Abel, we can't hear you. I'm so sorry. Okay. Just a reminder, please do send me that when your district committee meets. I know some of you, that's still a work in process. I get that. But your intended meeting date, if you would. Those charts, goals, and the next meeting, May 3rd, is what we're set, Monday evening, May 3rd. On that note, thank you so very much for your time and your contributions tonight. Have a wonderful week and spring. See you in about 30 days.
Oh, hey, Frank.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. One quick thing Aaron and I spoke about. Aaron will be sending out a new link because these have been on my Ring Central, and we have to change it because it's being used for a couple of other meetings. So this was the last night for my Ring Central number. Aaron's going to send out a new one for everybody to use starting next month. Watch for that, please.
Great. Thank you. On that note, take care. Bye.